We are live. What is going on, everyone? It has been a minute. So, we are running some experiments inside of this live. I'm testing out, trying out a brand new time. So, I am here in Thailand, and my circadian rhythm has me waking up early inside of the mornings, and I go to bed early usually. Normally, I'll do a live stream later on inside of the evening. It's been awesome. It's been fun. I love it. The problem is, I get tired the next day because my brain and my just the circuits are just going crazy in my brain after one of these, and then it makes it kind of hard to have a good night's sleep. So we're still going to do both. Still, I could give up a good night's sleep every now and then, but I want to do more of these. So we're going to experiment, try out a new time. And inside this live stream, we got a few things prepared. And that is one of the things I've learned recently doing live streams with Reno is to come prepared, because I remember doing one of these live streams, trying out a new time previously, but then I jumped in, opened up the camera, and it was empty. And that wasn't usually the case in all of our other live streams, and I wasn't prepared for that. So this time, I came prepared for any scenario, whether we have 100 people, whether we have two. It doesn't matter, because the recording is still going to be shown, and I want to make sure there's value and something to watch and learn from this. And this is a topic that I know is going to help a lot of people, something that is very, very important when it comes to web design businesses and pricing, being able to price. And the thing about pricing is it's always something that constantly grows and improves. It's something that we got to keep trying with trial and error, figuring ways to improve it. And it's something that never just stays stagnant, because our prices shouldn't stay stagnant. The industry doesn't stay stagnant, and our competitors don't stay stagnant. And this came to me over Black Friday. So we got that coming up, and I'm going to let you know what happened on Black Friday to spark this up inside of me. One other thing, though, I got to say, we are running a dual experiment on this one. I shouldn't say an experiment. We're running a dual first. All right. The first, using this new time zone, which for me is early morning. This is my peak performance time. This is right now is 8 a.m. for me. What time is it where you're at? Let me open up the comments, in fact. All right. I'm also just shaking off the cobwebs right now. Oh my God, we are sharing the screen. I can't believe I did that. Okay. Should we start it over? You guys are seeing the tunnel. Oh man, I'm like, this is going to be dope. I'm prepared. But then I look at my testing, my iPad, where I could see how the stream is going, and I forgot to look over there to make sure everything was all right. Okay, I guess I need more coffee, and I just saw some numbers dip off. Okay, it's all good. Let me see here and get the live chat going on. All right. Okay. I expected a few things, so it's all good. Because if you're still around, we still got some good stuff coming up. Gonna have some fun with this one. And again, this is shaking off the cobwebs, trying out something new. We're at a new time right now. I still plan to do the other time as well, but we also have thanks, Ginger. I see on our other chat. We also have our pro members for the Lytbox Pro community. We are streaming over in Circle as well for our pro crew. So we're streaming in two places this time. Couple news. I know it's going to take some trial and error, some consistency to really get the ball rolling. Okay, Ginger's here now on YouTube. This is cool. This is cool. So 6 p.m. and that's going to be inside the US. Normally, when we do the live streams, it's inside the evening time, and it's not the best time for the US. It's early in the morning, and it's not the best time for those of you in Australia, New Zealand, Africa, other parts, and even for those of us inside Asia as well, at least those of us that go to bed early, but it's all good. We are going to start doing both, and we're going to see how that goes. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to get right into it, okay? If you guys got questions, definitely drop them inside of the chat. I'm going to be marking all the questions. I want to make sure that when we are in this doing this in this space that everybody gets everything answered. I want to make sure there's a space for support, feedback, and a place where we could just, connect. What's up, Mark? Okay, I see Mark from Wiki Design, 8 p.m. over there. Philadelphia, I believe. So that's East Coast. All right. And then I see our pro members also showing up. We got Christopher, Adrian. So good to see you all. Okay, so I want to go back now that we don't see the screen share with the infinite screens showing each other. Back to the topic of pricing and what sparked this whole thing. Has this happened to you where you were ready to buy something? You knew what you wanted, you were interested in it, you've done some research in it, you're like, okay, this is a good deal, I want to check it out. But then when you go to buy it, the whole pricing model was so complicated, it was overwhelming. You felt like you had to reach out to their support just to get some clarity on it, to understand it a bit better, and then have a change of mind in the process because it was just so overly complicated. Has that happened? If it has, let us know inside of the chat. And I can tell you it happened to me, and it happened to me on Black Friday. It happened to me when I was looking to purchase Framer. Now, I am looking at other platforms. I'm still WordPress, always going to be. I don't see that ever changing, but I like to know what's going on in web design. I like to experiment. I also started off as a Shopify developer, and I still enjoy Shopify for certain client projects. Now, Framer is something that's got me very interested because it's become very popular. The thing that I like about it is it's similar to Figma, but then you're basically designing like you are in Figma, turning it into a website. We see a lot of just stellar templates out there, a lot of amazing designs. And for Black Friday, it was 50% off for the first year. And I thought, hey, this is a good opportunity to get it. I could play around with it. I could test it, see how it is, and I could share it on YouTube as well. So those of us in the WordPress space can learn a bit more about what is happening outside of WordPress. But then I got to the pricing. And let me go ahead and I'm going to do my screen. Okay, we're back to the infinite pages. Let's see here. Hopefully now, oh wait, I got to go back to here. Let me set this up and make sure it's showing right. I like the software I got, but sometimes it is hard to see. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, so I got actually a few pricing plans. And the reason why I want to look at these and tie them into how we price our web design services. I find that when I am trying to learn something and trying to build something inside my web design business where it is client focused, it helps to put myself inside of the client's shoes. Empathy is a powerful skill to have. It's a great asset to have for business, also in life. But by being able to build empathy and to be able to put yourself inside of client shoes, you can understand the client a bit better. So we are clients, we're customers. Everybody is a client and everybody is a customer. We all go through these experiences, and some of our experiences are fantastic, some of them aren't. And right here inside Framer, and this isn't like to put down Framer in any way. I just want to share what I went through and why I decided to not purchase at the end. First off, when looking at the plan, there is personal and business. Now, I really didn't understand the difference between business and personal. And I spent about a good hour trying to read everything, going through FAQs. And then I even had to reach out to support a couple of times to start to get clarity. Like, is this for a single website? A very simple question, a very simple thing to understand. Is this for, you know, is this for us, those of us building websites for clients? Does this mean that if we're paying hundreds of dollars a month that we get more than one website? A lot of questions unanswered and a lot of things were not clear inside of here. And then the other thing that became really confusing were all of the add-ons. Now, right now it's inside Typebot, but then we also got USD right here, which is okay. We got a mixture of them again. Little errors right here. Uh, One thing too, I remember looking at this. I was in the US for the last month for the holidays when I was going through everything for Black Friday and considering purchasing this. I remember the locales. First, I didn't really understand what is a locale. It really didn't make it clear. I get a kind of a better understanding now, where it's basically the site hosted in a server in a certain location where you could make that site in a way targeted towards that, say if I have a site inside the US and I have another one here in Thailand. And if I wanted to make the one in Thailand, I want to make it in Thai and I wanted to make it specific for the Thai users, then that would be a locale. A good example would be looking at like to the OnePlus website. Inside the OnePlus website, all right, I'm just making sure everything is good, checking out the chats. If you look at the OnePlus website, you go all the way down to the bottom. You could choose different countries, and every country has its own website. So that was my understanding of what the locale or localization is. Uh, in the US price, any of you in the US could check it out. I believe it was like $40 a month per each location. Now, $40 a month, that's where things start to get a bit pricey, when we start adding up all these prices. So we have prices, and I think there was something to, oh, yeah, right here. This stumped me. 99.99%. You got to get the big enterprise plan to have almost 100% uptime. That right there threw me off. So there was a lot in here that was confusing, but the big one, personal, business, not everything was clear, a lot of add-ons. So I was looking at this and I was like, which one do I need? There's so many choices right here. And then I decided just to not pay for it, stick with the free version, test it out, see how that goes. If I need it and I understand it better next year, if it shows like I'm going to get my money's worth out of it, maybe I'll invest then. But then afterwards, I started thinking about clients. Let me get out of the screen share real quick. All right. Now back to clients. Let me first check out the chat as well. That's right, dude. See, right? Like, I get that just with my hosting. I've always had this. I don't understand why you got to have an enterprise level for it. Yeah, I'm sure all of us WP folk know, you shouldn't need to spend hundreds a month or even thousands a month. Okay, but I started thinking about, clients as well and pricing for clients, and started thinking like, do we ever do this? Did I ever do this? Did I ever make it too complicated? And I could say right now the answer is yes. Yes, I have made it overly complicated. Not only have I made it overly complicated with clients at times, trying new things, but I've also made it overly complicated with the Lightbox Academy. This happened like last year. We made, or no, it was this year. Okay, we're not in 2025 yet, but I made a big change this year where we had everything happening in two places, purchases in two places, memberships here, courses here, things happening over here in Circle. It was complicated, and I took the feedback from everyone, and I had to like put myself inside the end users, inside of the community members, the students' shoes. Like, this is complicated. So I went through a big revamp, merging everything and trying to simplify it. And again, I'm still in the process of trying to simplify it with clients as well. I remember I was trying different pricing strategies. I was part of Chris Doe's Future Pro group for a couple of years, and I learned a lot from that group. But one thing that was taught a lot was value based pricing. And then I read the Win Without Pitching Manifesto by Blair Enns. I started following certain content that really focused on it. That is a level I wanted to go to. I want to get it to that level of value based pricing. And I wasn't there yet, but I still was trying it. And as a result, I was losing a lot of projects. Same thing when it came to the agreements. I had these really long agreements built for much, much higher level stuff with all kinds of add ons, all kinds of other figures in it. This is what it costs for this. This is what it costs with this happens. And it scared away clients. Now, my client type was brochure websites, smaller, medium sized businesses, e commerce shops. And well, the pricing model was didn't work for who I had. On the flip side, I remember getting a client who was an e-commerce shop. They were doing about 45 euros in sales a year. They're from Portugal. Uh, and we rebuilt their website. After the first year of rebuilding their website, they went from 35,000 euros to 380,000 euros in sales. The next year, they tripled that and they continued to grow. And after building their website for $5,000, I wasn't feeling good about that. I didn't feel like I charged properly, not just because of what we built, but because of the value that was delivered and the significant impact it made on their business. Has anybody else felt anything like that before? Have you ever gone through that? I'm going to catch up on comments really quick. All right. Ginger's asked about agreements, if these could be a topic. Most definitely. I do have something planned on that as well. This came up in one of our last live group calls inside our academy about agreements. I've gone through agreements, both good and bad, and it took years, but I figured them out pretty well. Let me check our pro group over here. Okay, we are good. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So, back over to pricing. All right. Does it have to be complicated? Do we have to make it so difficult? And the thing is, the more simple and minimalistic something is, the easier it is. And, recently I've been trying to get my lawn fixed. And again, this is me being the client. I've contacted several different people to come out. Like some of the lawn needs to be repaired. I do not have a green thumb. I'm terrible at it. There are things that are just going wrong inside of our garden with the trees and stuff like that. I know bugs are eating it. And so we've had people come in. Some just went in and did really cheap work really quickly, did not solve the problem. I knew I didn't want that. I wanted somebody who could help solve the problem, but it's been a challenge finding them. One of the people came in and just spoke in circles. Yeah, one guy going around measuring everything, writing everything down. I'm like, why does this have to be so I don't have like a big yard. I just need some new grass, some fertilizer, some pesticides, like I just want you to make it good. And so they did all this, and it was just like I couldn't even get a quote from them. I couldn't even get like a ballpark figure. So did not use them. And then just the other day, we asked somebody to come in, ask them if they could, I saw them working on a neighbor's house. Asked them, hey, can you help out with our house? They walked over right away. He took a look, say, yeah, no problem. It'll cost this much. We'll replace it. We'll take care of this. I'll make it look good. I'll make sure that is good. I'll come by every week and check it out for a month. I hired him on the spot. I didn't really even care what he was charging. The fact that he was able to come in, make it simple, and just assure that, hey, we got you covered. Don't even worry about this. And you know what? He came by. I was watering my lawn last night, came by while I was watering my lawn, say, hey, I could do that for you. I'm like, no, it's okay. I got this. And he's like, let me see. And just kind of walked around, looked at the plants, said, it's like, let me come back. Let me fix these over here. These are not looking good right here. Let me get this over here. We're going to come back and do that. Is that okay with you? And he got more business from me without a question. I was like, thank you. And how could we do that as web designers now when we are pricing? Now, when we're pricing, you got to think about what the client is going through. They are talking to other web designers. Some of them are running circles, talking circles around them, talking themselves out of a sale. Some of them are giving all these different numbers. Like, have you ever tried to like price out something like, yeah, copy will cost this, the design will cost this will cost this, and all of a sudden, like you got a big old breakdown, like you are trying to repair a car that's just been in a car accident, and you look at what the client is going through and they are confused. The client is talking to different people, pricing all these different ways, giving much different figures. You got another designer, freelancer, agency that is either overcharging the client ridiculously, or you got another one that is ridiculously undercharging because, their mindset around money is just not there yet. They haven't, like built up, themselves where they could really price, per value. And so by putting ourselves inside the client's shoes, what does a client want? They want clear transparency. They want assurance that this is just going to get done. It's going to be good. I guarantee it. You don't have to worry about it. When you start working with bigger clients, you start to see that you're not actually talking to the owners of the company, and you're talking to people who work for the owners. When you are in those situations, those people more than ever want to make sure that they hire somebody that's going to make them look good. So, how can you reassure, like, hey, we're just going to make you look good? We got you covered. You don't have anything to worry about. And it's just going to cost this right here. All right. Let's see. I'm going to catch up on the chat really quick. Yeah, Ginger over. Hey, I also do. It's hard to undercomplicate. Overcomplicating is easy. I find like that's the easy thing to do. It's trying to undercomplicate and simplify it. Like some people think a simple website is easy to make. A bad website is easy to make, but not a simple website. A simple website where it's simple and clean actually takes time to learn. Okay, so let me check out a few things. I'm going to go to a screen share. And I'm gonna give it a few seconds here while I have my iPad that's monitoring things to catch up. It always runs behind. Whenever you're streaming, it runs behind. Okay. Oh wait. Uh-oh. Kick my dog. What you doing under there? She's hiding under my feet. Okay, here we go. So I want to take a look at three of the most common types of pricing. And we did a poll on this. We did it inside of the Lytbox community that is on Circle. We did it here on YouTube. And number two was the one that got the most votes on both of them. Number two, project-based pricing. That was number one. Number two was value-based pricing, and the least voted on was time-based pricing. So time-based pricing, this is where we charge hourly. Or it could be estimated number of hours. It could be like, you're asked to, you know, build something and you think, okay, this is going to take 10 hours. I'm going to charge, my hourly rate is, let's say $50 an hour. This is going to take 10 hours. I'm going to charge you 500 bucks for this. So it's focusing purely on time. Project-based pricing, this is going to be more for how much is everything going to cost. Like not only how much a project, but also your expenses. Or if we are also bringing in other contractors as well. So we're thinking of a bigger round number that encompasses all of it. And then value-based pricing, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, is where you're actually understanding the client better. You understand more or less about how much this is going to impact their business. If you have a small mom and pop shop that, their website is just to, be a place where people could go and contact them, or, just to show a little bit more credibility. The website really isn't there to generate more business. Well, you're not going to charge that much for it. But if you do have a client that has brand recognition, they, are a bigger company, and that that by them having a better website, that they are going to generate a lot more business from it, especially when it comes to like e-commerce, things like that. Well, then you're going to price those two much differently. You're going to price based on the impact you're going to make. So with each one of these, I feel like when we are learning how to price projects, that we go through phases on them. We go through especially when we're brand new. When we're brand new, there, forget about value-based pricing when you're new. If you are new, you're in your first couple years, I would advise to know what it is, but not worry about it quite yet, because your first couple years should be about building skills. You got to definitely build your web design skills, be able to deliver solid websites, but you also got to learn how to build soft skills as well. And those soft skills are pricing, they're communicating with clients, they're being able to pitch and sell clients, being able to create quotes, being able to create slide decks that you can send to a client. So you want to build those soft skills first. The time-based pricing. Now, at first, this one could work in certain situations. You want to make sure that you do set your minimum payment requirement. So if your minimum is like, I do not want to make less than 50 bucks an hour, you got to make sure that you are making more than that. And if you are going to be working, if you're in your, your earlier years, or if you are working with another agency, say you're a contractor, you're not working directly with the client, you are working with an agency, you're billing that agency, time based can work. I'm not against it. I do think, though, we should continue to grow and evolve. Hold on, I need some water here. Okay, really quick, before we go on, I see a question over here that is really good. Let me stop the screen share. Okay, this is a good one. This is a really good one. All right. I like that you brought this up. Value pricing feels questionable. Watching Christo present it left a bad impression. It comes across as a way to extract as much money as possible from a company. Yeah. Okay. So this is really good that you brought this one up right here. You know, I think that there are two avenues to this. There's the shady avenue, which is, if we are just trying to get as much as we can. And I know exactly what you mean. I've been a longtime follower of Christo. I'm a student of Christo. And I learned the hard way that value-based pricing isn't the best for web designers, especially not the way it's being taught. I had to learn how to adjust it to myself. Now, focusing strictly on how much can I get out of this client, trying to dig in or even ask a client about their finances, like some of those questions uh in a discovery, asking a client like, well, how much, what was your profit like this last year? How much profit do you think this will get you next year? And trying to do the math on it. I felt like that to me, that just doesn't work. Now, for somebody who's heavy into sales and that's more of a salesman, they might be able to work with that a bit better. But yeah, I think going into value based pricing on the mindset of how much can I get out of this client is wrong. I don't think that is the way to go into it. What I learned is to go into it and find out how much value can I give. It's not about how much can I get, but how much can I give. And so by approaching a client and going into that first call, understanding the client, understanding their problems, and really honestly looking at what solutions can I offer, because I can't solve all problems. None of us can. Some of us have been, building up skills in certain areas where we could solve bigger problems. And I think if we are solving a bigger problem, we should charge more for that problem because we are offering value. And that value that comes from problem solving comes from years of experience, comes from hard work, dedication, it comes from investment in ourselves. So if we look at the whole value-based pricing, more focused on how much value can I give? And we keep looking at it. See, this is the mindset that I developed way back then when I was learning from Christo. That was my big takeaway from being one of his pro members for 2 years was I came out of it with a different mindset of completely looking at how can I give more value. So with that mindset of how can I give more, I'm constantly pushing myself to read books, to create content. One of the reasons I create content is to give back, but it's also to keep myself in the process of learning and growing. I push myself constantly. I'm hard on myself. I sacrifice so much so that way I can give more value. So when I get a client that does come to me with a bigger problem and I see it and I understand that problem, and I know, hey, I could solve that problem, but that problem is not worth $50 an hour. It's not worth $5,000 for a website. Like this problem is much bigger that I could come in and help solve. We could build a website, but we could do more along with that. And I'm not just talking with SEO and stuff like that. A lot of the times is pushing the client on the right path. It's getting things in their business and organization is set up done correctly, and by doing that, we should be charging a lot more. But I also, I did read the Win Without Pitching manifesto, and look at, I think that different business, when you are working with marketing and you are doing bigger things at bigger levels with clients that are like bigger companies, I think that's where it is more reasonable, versus web design and building websites for clients. And Ginger, yes, we're gonna take a look at packages. I got something coming up on that. Let me go back to a screen share though. All right. I'm getting used to my stream deck. That was my Christmas gift to myself, was getting a stream deck. So hopefully this helps out to make these more smooth coming up inside of the future. All right. Let's see. I just want to check. I'm looking over at our pro group here. Uh-oh. No, go back. All right, Amy, what is going on? So good to see you here. I'm just catching up on some comments. Let me bring this over. So, this is us streaming inside of Circle. And if you guys don't know, we do have our Circle community for the Lytbox. All right, Christopher, he's up for flooring. All right. And I know you do well with that. I've seen some of your comments as well, Christopher. You do well with that right there. There are pros and cons to it. And it seems like you got the pros done right on there. I love hearing that kind of feedback. And if anybody else is doing value-based pricing, let us know. Drop it in there. I don't think out of any three of these there are rights and wrongs that are definite. But I do want to bring up something else. And this is a variable based pricing. So this is something that I have come to a conclusion to. Now I have, let me see. Uh-oh, I can't move it. Yeah. I have gone through all three of these. I've done all three of these. All right. Time-based pricing was so-so, but we max out. There's only so much time you could have. And eventually you got to move away from time-based pricing in order to scale and grow. It's good in the earlier stages. That's totally fine. Project-based pricing. This is a sweet spot right here. This is a very good place to be at. It's a comfortable space to be at. And value-based pricing, this is more advanced. This is going to take some trial and error. And this is where we are starting to get at a different level. It did not work for me. I'll tell you straight up, going all in on value based pricing, I tried it for a solid year and it was a struggle. So, by going through all three of these, I came to another type of pricing, and that was variable based pricing. And this is what I have been using for years. Now, what variable based pricing does, it uses all three of them. These are three different variables that I use to find the price for a project. The first one, when I am understanding the project, I want to know how long is this going to take? Is this going to be a large e-commerce shop that's going to take a lot of customizations, or is this going to be a small, 4 or 5 page brochure website? Also, the client. How involved does a client want to be? There's a lot of variables that come to just the time. And you could tell when you start talking to a client. Some clients will give you the indication that this is going to be smooth. We just want a website up fast, and that's great. And then you got some clients that are they're wishy-washy about things. They don't have a clear vision yet. They don't know exactly what they want. They know they need something, but they're not there yet. And you can tell these clients are going to take more time. Then the next variable, this is going to be more of your project base, and that's understanding the scope. How much work is going to have to go into this, and what are the expenses going to be like? What do we need to cover? And then we're going to combine those with the variable. How much value are we going to give in this? Are we just going to give a very quick website where we're not going to be doing much? We're not going to be that involved, or are we going to be helping to solve some big problems that this client has? Do we see some major problems? It might be a local business that could be a small mom and pop shop, but they have huge opportunity with Google My Business. Well, not just with their website, but beginning found locally that is going to have a big impact. We can see that when you have been doing this when you have been doing this long enough, you could see that we can make a huge impact in this client's business. We know if this client were to hire us for a certain role, we would come in and we would help this client grow. Well, that's what we're doing. So, how could we combine all three of these? And this I found is a way, and just like what Mark mentioned about, the variable pricing, just trying to get as much from the client. Well, we could turn that around and instead keep it reasonable. Even if we see, hey, I can make a big impact, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel ethical to charge a ridiculous amount of money based on what I'm guessing we can make for you. Instead, we're going to keep it reasonable. We're going to look at the time and scope and expenses. How much is it going to cost for us to bring in another contractor? Things like that. We're going to look at those and we're going to combine that with the value base, like, okay, how big of an impact is this going to make? And then we're going to come up with the cost from there. And we're going to keep it simple as well. There's no need to do too much to make it overcomplicated like this. We don't need to send something over that a client has to go through and sift through and try to figure out. It needs to be clear. Now, up next, and this is what Ginger asked about, and something that I'm talking with Mark from Wiki Designs on is set packages. Now, set packages is something I am very interested in coming in 2025. I see our industry has been changing a lot. AI has been changing things, not only in us being able to build sites quicker, but AI is also changing things a lot as far as how much traffic comes to a website. People are searching more on ChatGPT or just getting Gemini results coming up inside of the search instead of actually going to websites. So things are changing and we need to look at it. And this is where set packages can come in. And Ginger, I hope you don't mind me sharing your business, but Ginger's somebody who has been crushing it her first year selling packages, just doing very well. If you put a package together very well, you price it well, it gives the clarity, it simplifies everything and can make it a lot easier. Now, the one thing we do want to avoid with packages is creating overly complicated packages. Now, I am a believer in the law of threes. I like to keep things in three. In fact, that's the reason why I have just three here. I try to do everything in threes because threes is just digestible by the human brain. It's easier to understand. But this right here, packages, let me know if you are interested in this because this is something I'm really interested in. I know Mark from Wiki, he's interested, and we're looking to do something coming up really soon on this right here. Let me, do you know what? I'm going to have some fun right now. Excuse me, my throat is dry. We looked at one right here. Now, I did not get this. And again, this is going back to us being I'm just going to geek out. First, okay, wait. Let me pedal back really quick. I want to go back and check and see, do we have any chats? All right. Let's go back here. Do we have any chats? Okay. Awesome. Nuna. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And just a heads up, everyone. I am back off of a long holiday. I hope everybody had a great holiday. I'm back off of a long one, way too long of a holiday break for me. I don't think I will ever do this again because I am rusty. It is so hard getting back in front of the camera. Like, I wanted to do another live stream. I want to start doing these a lot more, way more frequently. But I wanted to do one at this time zone because I also knew that it's a different time from when we usually use it. I knew that the turnout would be a lot lower, less pressure. At the same time, we got something prepared, hopefully adds value, something to learn from. But it's also just trying to shake off the cobwebs, trying to get back inside of the zone. uh Whenever you start doing everything consistently, you start doing it better. Things start to become more natural. And that I found particularly true when it comes to speaking, when it comes to presenting. Now, if you've been following me for some time and know my story, then you know that this does not come naturally to me at all. In fact, it's a complete opposite. It took years for me to even get to the point where I could just have conversations, talking to people, looking in the eyes, like doing this in front of the camera and being on, creating content, live streams, speaking, presenting. It takes practice. And when you stop doing it for some time, I found for me, it's harder to get back into it. So I don't think I'll ever take another a 6-week holiday. Way too long, but it was nice. I got to spend good time with the family. I hope everybody else has a good holiday as well. Uh Let's see. No questions. Okay. Well, maybe we got to start doing these later on in the evening again. I know in the evening we get tons of questions. Questions help out. So if you got questions, definitely drop them in. And while you're thinking of questions to ask, let's take a look at some other platforms and their pricing. Because again, I want to take a look at this from a customer's point of view, from a client's point of view. And let's see what that is like. Okay, here we go. All right, so we already looked at Framer. Let's check out a couple others. I'm going to go over here to Webflow. Let's take a look at Webflow's pricing and how it compares. First off, with Framer, you do got the personal and business. I've been following Framer for a little while now, interested in it, and this has changed quite often. It wasn't always like this, and it seems like it continues to change and change and change. And every time it changes, it seems to get more complicated, more tricky. And I really wish I took a screenshot. I couldn't find it, but I saw somebody post a tweet on their Framer site that uh they needed something with their IP address, something like that. They're charged like $4,000, like something ridiculous that we get at no cost using our own hosting with WordPress. Like it was absolutely crazy, like what they were priced. Uh, and we see more of those things come up. That's the big con when it comes to the third party software. Now, for me, I'm not against third party platforms. I'm not. I do love open source WordPress, but I'm also not against other platforms. Everything has their own pros and cons. Looking over here for Webflow, this is more simplified right here. This is more reasonable and understanding. First off, they got really good tool tips that explain what everything is and what this means. This is a really good example. I mean, they have a bit more options than I think needed. We do got the e-commerce in general, but that I think that's pretty self-explanatory right there. I think where things start to get complicated is with some of the add-ons or even sometimes unreasonable uh as well. So localization, $9 a month. This is much different than the $40 a month from Framer. See, I like Framer. I like the sites it's developing, but I do not like the pricing. I think this is priced way too much. I think it's become unreasonable. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Me personally, I think that they are pricing this in a way that I don't know. I just don't feel it. I feel like this pricing has been the biggest turnoff for something that I really want to get into. But now going to Webflow, this seems a bit more reasonable as well. And we did a poll in the Lytbox community about third party platforms. Webflow was the highest picked one on where the interest is at. Now, this one as well, I want to pull up Wix Studio because I think that this is now, I feel like with the pricing of Framer being absolutely ridiculous, that this gives Wix Studio another look at. This gives them something that, hey, well, this might be a better option other than, Webflow. It is more reasonable as well. Nothing super overly complicated inside of the pricing. So this is pretty good right here. I don't know if there's add-ons. Has anybody tried this yet? I mean, I like the tables. I don't see any add-ons, which is good, but I'd have to dig into it a bit more. All right. So you can start doing e-commerce sites at $20 a month. That's not bad. That really isn't. Look at that site. I mean, site analytics. This should be a given. Which one has you have to pay for? One of these you have to pay for. Yeah, I think it's a frame Webflow. You got to pay for the analytics. Framer 2, I see that they just redesigned their analytics as well. Let me see. Where are their add-ons at? Let's see where their analytics. Okay, they do have analytics in there. This is for personal. Okay, that's good. I feel like analytics should be included. This shouldn't be an add-on. Yeah, okay. So it looks like it's just Webflow where it's an add-on. Optimize. So this one I did have to take a look at. And at $300 a month, that's a lot of money. But when I checked it out, what Optimize looks like to me, from my understanding of this, is more of like a A/B testing feature with AI integrated inside of it. Uh, might be something worth checking out. Quite expensive, but yeah, this is going to be whenever you're doing A/B testing, it's got to be for a higher level platform where you're getting crazy traffic. All right. And then Shopify. So, Shopify as well, they have a pretty simple pricing structure on it. I still use Shopify. I don't know. Do any of you use Shopify? I prefer this over WooCommerce. And I think for most clients, this works better for e commerce clients than WooCommerce does. I also charge a lot more for Shopify too. Okay. Let me go back over, stop the screen share, go back here. Okay. Okay. I'm getting it down. I don't see any questions. I was hoping there would be like 10 questions by the time I finish showing that. It's all good. We're going to have fun. This is just getting back into it right now. What we're going to do is experiment with both times. And if the live streams in the evening time are just doing better, more people are able to join, participate, and be part of it, I'll definitely sacrifice a good night's sleep to stay up late and do those. But I'm really am glad to be back. Adriana, big fan of Shopify. Same here. I personally like Shopify for e-commerce sites. You know, I started off doing Shopify and then moved to WordPress, and I do not believe in changing. All right. Like I started using bricks and people ask, well, are you leaving Elementor for bricks? I don't believe that looking at it that way. I don't think that's the way we should be looking at it. It's more about I'm also doing this. I'm adding to it because these are the values that we start to build up. This is how we start to charge more. And if you are doing the same amount of work, the same projects, if we are solving the same problems and we're not growing, then it makes it really hard to start to charge more. It makes it really hard to start to adjust our pricing. But if we start to change our mindsets and we start to focus on how can I give more value? How can I develop myself to give more value? What do I need to do so that way I could deliver more value to clients and to businesses? If we start to do that, then we could grow in so many ways. We could start looking, and it all starts with the mindset change. It all starts by the way that we're actually looking at something. There's always different perspectives, and we got to be open to perspectives as well. You'll see this a lot with me. I might look at something a certain way. For example, the whole automatic versus WP engine. I've looked at that from so many different perspectives, and it continues to evolve. So one of the reasons why I didn't want to make any or really put anything out about it quite yet is because I'm trying to look at it from different ways, and really, it's something that's really big. I mean, we're talking about multi-billion-dollar companies that are battling each other. Like that's pretty big. So I got to be able to audit and change my perspective. And well, where I'm going with that is when it comes to pricing, as long as we keep looking at it and keep evaluating it, and this is a good opportunity to do it because we're going into 2025. This is a time of the year where we can look at how do we run our web business? How have we been doing things? What could we do better? This is a time for us to start to look at improvements. Well, with that, I am going to wrap up this live stream. We're going to do another one tonight with the WP creator. So, Mark, I'll see you later tonight or inside of your morning. And next week, we're going to do another one of these, but I'm going to do it at the later time. We'll just see how it goes from there. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's time for me to go get breakfast. I hope everybody either has a good night or a productive day. See ya.